How to prevent and reverse type 2 diabetes with simple, proven strategies. What is diabetes? There are actually three types of diabetes. Type 1 is something you usually are born with, and it is classified as not producing enough insulin. Since your pancreas is not able to produce insulin, you need to take it as an injection. Type 2 is classified as producing too much insulin, and the cells becoming resistant to the point that insulin can no longer do its job. Scientists actually classify type 3 diabetes as Alzheimer's. A big cause of Alzheimer's is insulin resistance in the brain. If the brain can't utilize glucose as fuel, it can't function properly. Why does type 2 diabetes develop? The reason type 2 diabetes develops is due to the process of excess glucose intake over time to the point where insulin receptor sites become resistant to insulin. The reason that this happens is because insulin is the body's major fat storing hormone, and it stores glucose in the cells. Over time, the cells become resistant to excess insulin due to excess glucose intake. When these cells become resistant, insulin can't do its job, and when insulin can't do its job, you're going to have glucose floating around in the bloodstream instead of glycogen stored in the muscles and the liver. Glucose in the bloodstream, unchecked, will have everything just torn up, which is why you see horrific side effects with type 2 diabetes. Also, this excess glucose will be stored as fat if there is no room left in the liver or muscles, where glucose is actually supposed to be stored. How do we prevent and reverse type 2 diabetes? We're going to have sleep here. Sleep is a cornerstone of preventing and reversing diabetes. The reason for this is how sleep impacts insulin sensitivity. There is research showing that one night of sleep deprivation can actually make you as insulin resistant as a type 2 diabetic. Now, this is temporary, of course, but it will return to normal if you get enough sleep. There is also research showing how 24 hours of sleep deprivation can impair glucose uptake to the brain by 15%. Next is nutrition. The main foods that cause diabetes are vegetable oils and ultra-processed carbohydrates. Vegetable oils cause diabetes because of the excess inflammation. About 100 years ago, we had 2 to 3 polyunsaturated fat that made up our body. Now we have an average of 30% polyunsaturated fat due to these vegetable oils. We use these to create our cell membranes. When your body gets its fat burned with all this extra polyunsaturated fat, it damages the mitochondria. Ultra-processed carbohydrates are things like cookies, candies, cakes, soda, and excess sugar. Also, the more natural carbs cause them as well if overdone. These should be avoided if you already have diabetes. Like the glycemic index is the degrees that a particular food spikes blood sugar. Fat doesn't raise blood sugar, protein does a little, but carbs do a lot. All carbs turn into sugar in the bloodstream. The higher the number of glycemic index, the more the blood sugar spikes. This is also a general thing because everyone is going to respond differently to different foods. An example of a sliced whole wheat bread is very high because it contains a fast absorbing carbohydrate called amylopectin A. For diabetes, you want to lower your overall carb intake, which is going to lower the glycemic load. These carbs are going to be less, so you can have much less spiking of the blood sugar and also avoid vegetable oils. Lastly, exercise. Strength training is critical to reverse diabetes. The more muscle you have, the better you'll be able to tolerate glucose because that is the primary place where it's stored. Also, muscle is expensive to carry around, which means that you burn more calories while doing nothing. Focusing on your big muscle groups like glutes, chest, and shoulders will serve you well when it comes to fat loss. Doing squats, deadlifts, bench press, and bent over rows are great for this. Exercise has also been proven to improve insulin sensitivity. The more insulin sensitive you are, the better you can tolerate glucose. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the show. For more, you can head over to anthonygastella.com for articles, coaching, and other free resources. Also, if you can, leave a review for the show, let people know what you think, and I would appreciate that so much. Support the mission of freedom. Thanks for being on this mission with me, and I promise to give you more powerful, empowering, great content to help transform your life. Thanks for tuning in.